a bailout of about $2.6 billion for 5 major Nigerian banks. What do you make of what's happening there?
Well, good morning. Basically what happened is that the central bank did an audit of the 5 banks: AfriBank, Intercontinental Bank, Oceanic Bank, Union Bank and FinBank, and found that they had a very large number of bad loans or non-performing loans on their books. In the case of some banks, even up to 50% of the entire loan book was made out of bad loans. And this is also impacting negatively on the whole banking sector. And what the central bank found is that these banks basically had bad corporate governance structures in place and didn't follow the proper risk management procedures. And they could no longer meet their obligations to their depositors and creditors. And it then suspended the 5 CEOs and the executives, and also announced 400 billion naira bailout to stabilize these banks and allow them to function normally again.
Right.
I think it was a good decision. There's been much speculation within the industry about the true health of Nigeria's banks. A lot of them didn't disclose their exposure to risky loans, such as loans to the oil and gas industry and margin loans. And I think this is sort of put it out there in the open, and now the central bank can take steps to try and rectify the banking sector.
Now, Jaco, some American fund managers who've been looking at the Nigerian banking industry just by way of trying to direct equity to Nigeria found that on average there's about $10 billion worth of toxic assets in some of the foremost financial institutions. Now, as you're saying, the one sentiment is that this action is timely and needed, but there is another viewpoint that says that it indicates deep systemic problems in the Nigerian financial system, and in fact we're probably going to be witnessing some more shocking revelations coming out of there. What's your sense?
Yes, as you said earlier, only 10 of Nigeria's 24 banks have thus far been audited, and I think the whole process will be finished by mid-September, so maybe by then we will see some more problems with some of the other banks. But I think there's no point in trying to hide problems in the banks. I think banks all across the world have come out and said that they're in trouble. The Nigeria banks were just allowed to keep silent about it for a little bit longer. But I think it's a duty of the central bank to protect depositors and to ensure the stability of the banking sector. And even though there might be a bit of panic now in the markets, like the share prices have dropped quite significantly, even of the other banks, not the 5 implicated in this whole issue this week. But I think once the dust is settled, people will start to realize that this is actually good for the banking sector and good for its long-term stability.
Now, as you're saying, the Nigerian Stock Exchange has suspended the trading of shares of these 5 banks. Probably some more action will be taken. Depositors, though, are very, very wary, and there is this fear that there's going to be a mass withdrawal of money from the Nigerian banking system. The governor, Sanusi Lamido, has assured people that the central bank will guarantee transactions for now. People mustn't panic, but there is a fear that the market is going to crash as people panic in the midst of these audits. What do you make of the new governor's approach to regulation, and what do you make of this call for people to just stay put and not panic?
Well, I think the governor has in the past repeatedly stated the importance of transparency in the banking sector, and I think that's what we're seeing at the moment. I think the most important job for the central bank and the respective banks is to communicate effectively with their clients and depositors, and to reassure them that their deposits are not going to get lost, that everything is under control. And in actual fact, this 400 billion naira that was extended was actually done to improve the financial condition of these 5 banks, not worsen it. So in fact, this announcement is leaving depositors and investors better off because now the banks have more money to their disposal. But I think it's very important now for the central bank and the individual banks to communicate honestly and openly to the public about this issue.